Okay, just gotta remember the lines. Here we go. Bad boys, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when they come for you?
Okay, I'm waiting for the punchline.
My friends, Bad Boys Ride or Die has now been released in theaters, and when that happens, what are all of us going to do? We're going to see it. When their late police captain gets linked to drug cartels, wisecracking Miami cops Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett embark on a dangerous mission to clear his name. And welcome to the channel. Before we dive in, as always, make sure you smash like and subscribe if you're new here. But Bad Boys 4 or Ride or Die, honestly, it would have been a great opportunity. I've seen some people say this, if they would have done Bad Boys for Life, and maybe the third one was called Ride or Die, but they didn't know. But it's directed by Adil and Bilal, and obviously starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence as Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett.
Mike Lowrey.
And man, what an unexpected gem this movie is. Right off the top, I kind of just want to talk about Bad Boys a little bit. Like, I grew up with the Bad Boys movies, Bad Boys 1 and 2. Bad Boys 2 has always been my favorite of the two. Then Bad Boys for Life came out. I enjoyed it. I honestly didn't look into these two directors very much after I watched the film. It just basically seemed like they were playing within Michael Bay's playhouse. Like they were just trying to kind of keep it similar to his style and tone while showcasing a little bit of what they can do. But it's not a franchise like, say, Mission Impossible or the James Bond franchise. It's nothing like that. It never has been to me. I've always loved Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, but it's never been, I guess, to that caliber. And you might not agree with that, but I've never held it to that standard. And going into this project, there were a couple of questions, whether people want to admit it or not. Like, I had a couple specific questions heading into it. The first one was Adil and Bilal, like, everything that happened with the Batgirl, how are they going to respond to that movie being shelved? And then the other thing is, obviously, and I'm like not going to dance around it, the slap heard round the world with Will Smith. And my response after watching this movie is that these two directors are two of the best directors working in the business right now, especially as far as action goes, and Will Smith has not missed a beat. Like, initial thoughts walking out of the theater were like, this movie freaking ruled. I need another one right now, and I can't believe that the Bad Boys franchise just did that. I was very curious after Bad Boys for Life where they could go now and how they could improve on what they started with that, because although I quite enjoyed Bad Boys for Life, it's at the bottom of my rank for these movies, but I would compare what I just witnessed to maybe the turn between Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible 4, Ghost Protocol. Just a complete elevation of everything. The bar was raised, and they really honored what has come before in this franchise, and they've also paved a way forward for more of these movies. It made me care about Bad Boys again. And people complain, and I don't know, probably rightly so, that like franchises dominate the box office always. And I agree, it's just one of those things where like, yes, I want some new and unique action stories being told on screen. Like, obviously we want those, but if you make 5 more of these films, like, I will show up every single time, especially if it's gonna be like this. They absolutely nailed Mike and Marcus. They made me feel Miami again and that vibe, and they brought in a serious threat that felt dangerous. They also managed to give us some compelling character work. We got some expanded time with Mike and his son Armando, which Armando was awesome in Bad Boys for Life, but dude, he was really good in this. God, careful, I give myself whiplash. I'm like, he was good in this. There's also this element of the weight of death and the many ways that that can have an effect on someone. It could be panic attacks, or it could be complete freedom because you feel like you can't die. The death of Captain Howard, Joe Pantoliano, is still having an effect, and like, honestly, the emotionally effective moments landed for me. There was some very solid writing in this movie. I mean, solid enough for like what you'd expect from a blockbuster, a popcorn flick, what you would expect from a Michael Bay Bad Boys film. When he was at the helm, I never found myself drifting. I was always entertained, and then Bad Boys for Life came out, and I felt like it kind of took a step back. Again, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't as into it. When Michael Bay isn't around, well, I actually take that back, because you might see Michael Bay show up if you watch this movie, but when he's not behind the camera, you don't really know what to expect. Bad Boys is his DNA, and I know his name is on this movie, but I wasn't sure, and when this movie started, I was kind of like, okay, here we go, another Bad Boys movie, sequel, what's this gonna be? Is this gonna be a cash grab? But right around the time time that Martin Lawrence's character, he falls down and he falls through the floor into water. So like visually and in the real world, he's just falling onto the hard ground, but the camera manages to suck him underneath into this water, and then he's viewing the real world through that water and he's looking through. It was so cool visually that from that moment on, I was like, oh, okay, so this is different. And the action was outstanding, man. Obviously, these guys are still taking steps to honor Michael Bay style, but the stamp that they threw down on this movie was like, okay, y'all saw us stick close to the formula in the last one, but now look at what we can do. And after seeing what they can do, I'm like, damn it, I did want to see that Batgirl movie. Gosh. My favorite action scene of the whole movie is with Marcus's son-in-law, Reggie. He has this moment where he gets to like flex his marine chops, and it was like John Wick. It was absolutely absurd and incredible. I'd also say I wouldn't believe you if you told me that you didn't like the last 45 minutes of this film. There are truly a couple moments that blew my freaking mind. There are a few one-shot moments where the camera's flying through this hangar and it's going from floor to floor. They must have been using a drone or something, but all of these people are fighting at once, and you get the sense that this is all one take and it's going in and out and in and out. And I actually like audibly cheered, and I never do that in the theater, but I was like, yeah! But you still, you know, at the heart and soul of this film, you have Will Smith and you have Martin Lawrence. And these two dudes have been doing this forever, and somehow this movie feels as fresh as ever. You know, their chemistry is always going to be compelling, and Mike and Marcus, they're just compelling characters in general, man. And I know I keep bringing up the Mission Impossible franchise, but that's a franchise that has a lot of different characters that we've gotten to know over time, and they keep bringing up reasons to bring them back, and they keep utilizing them in new and fresh ways. And if they could figure out how to do that here, I'm all in. I'm like, let's go. The supporting cast is great. It has me feeling very comfortable when I sit down at this point. You got Vanessa Hudgens.
She's a bae.
You have Alexander Ludwig, and then there's always a fresh batch of cameos. You know, it's like, well, after one cameo was done, I'd be like, oh look, another one. But then we get to the villain, and ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Nate's dad from Euphoria, Eric Dane. And in this, he's playing McGrath. This is really what I was talking about with the threat feeling real. You know, I'm just happy to see that this guy is getting some bigger roles, and he fits the bill. He was menacing. Throughout this funny, kind of zany Bad Boys film, you get the feeling that he is going to be the end all, and the plot ends up coming around full circle to that culmination moment, which you always want. It told a very worthwhile story. It's hilarious at times, but it also got me teary-eyed at times. I just can't say enough as to how surprised I am that I like this movie this much. Will Smith's comeback season is now upon us. Some say that he never left, and that person is Chris Rock. But my friends, as for my star rating, now I want to let you know this is based purely off of my enjoyment level. This isn't like a critical analysis or anything. It's just how I felt walking out of the theaters. I'm giving Bad Boys Ride or Die 4.5 out of 5 stars. No doubt. But now I want to hear from you guys. Have you seen Bad Boys Ride or Die? If so, what did you think? And what did you think about my take on it? If you haven't seen it, do you plan on going and seeing it? And also, what is your rank of the Bad Boys franchise? Leave all that down below. I view every single comment that comes in. Also, guys, before heading out, make sure that you smash like. If you want to reach out to me on X as well, I'm at Jones Vibes Only. I'd love for you to reach out to me there. But that was Bad Boys Ride or Die. What you gonna do? What is this, a Creed version? Bad Boys? That was weird.